Most modern roads crack within decades, yet one stone highway laid down over 2,000 years ago is still visible, still walkable, and in parts still usable. That's not luck. That's engineering swagger from a civilization that built for eternity, not election cycles. Today, on Ancient Routes Uncovered, we're diving into why medieval and ancient roads, like the legendary Via Appia, continue to exist, while modern asphalt barely survives a generation. Built for armies, not commuters. When the road was first constructed in 312 BCE under the Roman statesman Appius Claudius Caecus, it wasn't designed for weekend traffic. It was designed to move legions fast. Rome needed troops, supplies, and messages to travel efficiently across expanding territory. That meant the road had to survive weight, weather, and war. Roman engineers approached road building like military infrastructure. They layered materials in a way that distributed weight and resisted erosion. First came compacted earth, then crushed stones, then gravel mixed with lime, finally massive fitted basalt slabs on top. The result was a surface that drained water, resisted shifting, and locked itself into place like a stone puzzle. Modern roads often fail because water gets trapped underneath and weakens the base. Roman roads avoided this with cambered surfaces and drainage ditches along the sides. Rain didn't sit. It ran off. The structure stayed strong. Precision that rivals modern construction. What really keeps roads like this alive isn't just material, it's precision. Roman surveyors measured routes using tools accurate enough to maintain remarkably straight alignments across vast distances. Sections of the Via Appia run so straight they look laser-cut on satellite maps today. But straight didn't mean careless. The Romans understood terrain. They cut through hills when needed, built embankments over marshland, and installed stone retaining walls to prevent collapse. Where modern builders sometimes reroute or compromise, Roman engineers committed to permanence. They weren't thinking about maintenance contracts. They were thinking about empire. Maintenance was part of the system. Another reason these roads survived into the medieval era and beyond is that they were never abandoned. After the fall of the Western Roman state, local rulers, traders, pilgrims, and entire kingdoms continued using Roman infrastructure. In medieval Europe, roads were lifelines for trade and communication. Many medieval routes weren't new roads at all. They were Roman roads reused, patched, and occasionally repaved. Sections of the Via Appia, especially near Rome and the southern port of Brindisi, remained critical corridors for merchants and travellers heading toward the eastern Mediterranean. Because the foundation was so strong, maintenance often meant replacing the top stones rather than rebuilding the road from scratch. That's a huge difference from modern highways, where once the base fails, everything fails. Stone beats asphalt every time. Let's talk materials. Roman roads used volcanic stone, especially basalt. Basalt is incredibly dense and resistant to wear. Heavy carts, horses, weather extremes, even centuries of neglect couldn't easily break it down. Asphalt, on the other hand, is flexible and cheap. That's why we use it. But flexibility comes with a lifespan. Sun, temperature shifts, and traffic slowly deform it. Roman roads were rigid and heavy, not ideal for comfort, perfect for durability. You can still see wagon ruts carved into some stones of the Via Appia. That's not damage. That's proof the surface lasted long enough to record history. The empire built a network, not just roads. The Via Appia wasn't a random project. It was part of a massive transportation system stretching across the Roman Empire. Milestones marked distances. Inns and rest stations supported travellers. Standardized construction methods meant every road followed similar principles. This network effect mattered in the medieval period. Even when political control fractured, the physical roads still connected cities, markets and ports. People didn't stop using them because they couldn't. These routes were simply too valuable. Infrastructure outlives governments. That's the lesson Rome taught the world. Why you can still walk it today. So why do parts of the Via Appia still exist in visible form while many medieval roads vanished? First, its foundation was overbuilt. The Romans expected roads to last centuries. Second, it remained continuously used. Roads survive when people need them. Third, stone doesn't rot. Timber bridges collapse, dirt tracks erode, basalt slabs endure. And finally, cultural value kicked in. By the Renaissance, scholars and travellers recognized the road as a relic of antiquity. Sections were preserved not just for transport, but for history. Today, long stretches are protected archaeological zones and walking routes. In other words, the road survived because it became more than infrastructure. It became identity. What this tells us about ancient engineering. When we walk these roads now, we're not just stepping on stones, we're stepping on a philosophy. Roman builders believed public works reflected state power and cultural pride. If the road failed, the state looked weak. So they built roads that practically dared time to challenge them. Modern construction often prioritizes speed and cost. Roman construction prioritized permanence. That difference echoes across millennia every time someone walks the Via Appia and realizes they're standing on something older than most countries. That's not nostalgia. That's engineering dominance. And it's why these roads didn't just survive the medieval world. They shaped it. If you love uncovering the hidden genius of ancient civilizations and seeing how their ideas still shape our world today, make sure you subscribe to Ancient Roots Uncovered and share this with someone who thinks history is boring. Trust me, once you start walking these ancient paths, there's no going back.